Hi all, this is a quick demo of a new web tool I've been working on. So you might have found at the bottom of our web tools page, there's this new work in progress tools section. There's a few tools you can play about with, but in this case, we're going to have a look at this new log finder tool. So here I am in Firefox, and you'll see browser does not support directory opening. So I'm afraid if you're using Firefox, it will not work. So this is now Chrome. So this uses an you see we don't get the pop-up. So this uses some functionality to search directories from the browser, which is not supported by all web browsers. So your results may vary. Anyway, here we are in Chrome, so I can go search directory, and I'm actually in my Mission Planner logs folder. So this is where, if I just connect up to ArduPilot and click download logs in Mission Planner, this is where all those logs end up. So I'm just going to select that folder. Now again, because this is a sort of new or unusual tool for a browser, the browser confirms. Would you definitely like to let this page look at your files? So yes, and of course we don't do anything with the files. They're all client side only. And of course you're welcome to look at the source code and check. So this is what it's done. It's opened all of my log files. And then found out a little bit of information about them. So first of all, it's found what flight controller is associated with the log file, and then it's sorted all of those logs in that folder and subfolders into sections based on the flight controller. So this would typically be one vehicle, and then this top example is not a very brilliant one because that's one of my desk cube oranges I use for testing stuff. But this is on a real vehicle, this YJ UAV flight controller. So you can see we've got a few logs with no GPS, and then towards the end, we get some timestamps because it was able to get a GPS log. So this is those logs. By default, it sorts by date. Of course, if it can get a date, if there's no GPS in the log, it won't be able to get a date. Then in this column, it shows you the name. And then also, if you hover over, it shows you the sort of the path. So it can't tell you the full like Windows path. It can only tell you the path relative to the directory that you opened. And again, that's another limitation of directory searching within log browsers. So this is in the logs folder I opened, and then fixedwing/1, and then this file name gives us a size. It tells us what version. So I was on 4.6 dev in this case, and then it tells me what the flight time was. So you can see roughly how long flight was, and if there's likely to be anything interesting in it. I can click parameters here, and that downloads the parameters from that log. So that's the parameter set there. And I can do this for any of these logs. I can just click download, and you'll notice if I hover over, it shows me the change in parameters. So there's no change for this first the first param set, because that's the first instance of that vehicle. And then the change is here. So these sort of calibration parameters have changed, system stats have changed. So nothing important has changed on that one. On this one, I changed log disarm, so that's one I will have changed manually. Then here, I did a little bit of tuning, so my yaw P and yaw filter E have changed. This one I set up my battery low voltage threshold. Then it's a bit more tuning, so some rate tuning for the quad plane controller. Then a bit more tuning and hover throttle change, and a bit more tuning again. I set up the battery voltage stuff on that flight. More tuning, lots of tuning. This I changed flight modes and some stream rate stuff. Q options change there. Calibration stuff again, and more calibration stuff. So you can really track through this little pop-up what has changed as you progress. So if you're doing, several flights for tuning and you've forgotten exactly what you've changed, you can actually follow through between the different logs and see what the changes are. And of course, if I find this is actually sort of a bit incorrect because it's going between two different versions of ArduCopter, but it will show you potentially quite a lot of parameters. So new means that there's parameters in this log that were not in the previous log. So all these parameters have turned up which were not there before. There's all these scripting ones which probably meant that I set scripting enable, and you can see that that is in fact the case in the changed parameters. So because I set scripting enable, the rest of the scripting parameter tree turned up as a new parameter. There's some missing parameters, these ones, so they probably were not built into this particular firmware. So obviously I can't see them because they were in the old log but not the new log, and this is the changed ones. So again, there's quite a lot, and some of them, there is really a lot of parameters on that particular one. So that hopefully gives a nice way that you can track parameters between different vehicles, without having to sort of neatly note everything down. And of course, it has a open in button. So I could take this log, go, oh, well, there's some flying there. That's the one I wanted. Let's go and have a look at that in hardware report. So it'll open hardware report in a new tab, and then it's loaded in that log. So that's that same log. And then I get all the usual hardware report stuff. I can download files and look at hardware stuff here, log size and things. And we'll have to see if it'll work for us. I can also, let's pick a bit of a longer one here. Also open in the UAV log viewer. This doesn't always work first time just because the web page takes a little bit longer to load. So if it doesn't work first time, if you try again, it should then work. There we go, processed. And now I can plot stuff from that log. So hopefully this tool is a sort of useful way that you can sort out your logs for different vehicles and track what changes you've been making, and then also sort of take a particular log you're interested in and view it within one of the other tools. So yeah, the new log finder. Oh, and you can hit reload. So if you've opened a folder and then you've downloaded some new logs into it, you can hit reload and it'll just reload the same folder again. So yeah, the new log finder for sort of keeping track of the changes between log files. Thank you.